So I'm fishing a tiny little cream caddis. It's a size 20, and I love fishing a caddis in rocky bottom. And the reason being is because as caddis move, they create these silks, these long strings, and they grab onto a rock, and then they create this silk, this long line, and they sway, sort of like a spider. If you think about a spider, you know, they'll hang from a tree on a long piece of silk and let the wind sway into the next tree, and then they move. Well, caddis are similar, but they'll do it under the water. So if they want to get from one rock down here, they'll make a long piece of silk and they'll sway through, and you know what? Trout will notice that. So when I'm in a rocky area like this, I love fishing caddis larva, and I want it down to the bottom. And the reason why is because that's where those trout are kind of noticing the larva moving. So if they're moving from one spot to another, now that doesn't mean that's the only way they move, right? They can move by getting dislodged, or just, you know, straight up picking up and drifting down until they hit it. But most of the time they like to get hold of that long piece of silk and sway through. So when you're drifting your flies near the bottom, you know, trout kind of see that, and they either assume that it's one of those drifting down, got dislodged. Most of the time they're not dead, right? So as they're drifting through the water column, they're wiggling, they're swiggling. So a mend does that. A mend kind of makes them look like it's real. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to mend across the water column, right? So a little tiny mend just to make it move a little bit is not the end of the world. Some people say, oh my God, you can't move the fly at all, or the trout's going to think it's fake. Possible, but that's more related to if you mend and it comes screaming across the water column unnaturally. That's not how they behave. But a little bit of a twitch is not really going to cause much harm. So what you're looking for when indicator fishing is any sort of pause, right? So you have this nice cadence of a drift and it's not really being altered. If you see it pause for a second or dip, that's when you set the hook. Like that. So if you come up to a hole and you see a bunch of rocks on the bottom, throw on a caddis, a small little caddis. Cream, green, it'll be worth it. Drift it near the bottom, make sure it's your bottom fly. Oh my goodness gracious. Where is this go? It's wrapped around my leg. Which way around my leg?